welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to do an update to a video I covered about 2.5 weeks ago, which was titled, Wife Ignored Daughter on Her Birthday So She Could Cheat. Now husband is sending her ASS to the streets. And a shout out to Russell for letting me know about this update. And guys, as a recap, because again it's been 2.5 weeks, that's about the husband who at the end of the story is done with his wife after finding out she was cheating on him for some time, particularly when she was supposedly on business in Las Vegas. She came home with a giant mark on her neck, a hickey, but she said it was a bug bite because so many bugs are flying around in Las Vegas. Anyhow, he kept pressing her about it, and finally she openly admitted that she cheated on him, an affair with her coworker, a guy who was under her, no pun intended, and, she's so sorry, but he's done with her. And, oh yeah, by the way, to make matters worse, she's a mom, 4-year-old daughter together, and while she was in Vegas, cheating on her husband, the daughter had her birthday, they were going to do what the hell is it called? FaceTime, and she totally ignored the daughter, and broke the daughter's heart, all that. So he's done with her. Well, anyhow, here's an update on where things have been going. Obviously, it's a big mess. And I thought, obviously, I would cover this because you guys are interested in this story. Oh, and by the way, guys, I've been saying for a while, if you happen to be on X, formerly Twitter, come check me out, SSM Channels. Definitely really trying to promote all these channels on X right now because YouTube isn't doing that very much anymore. So go over to X. We're all having a good time, and it's pretty much within reason, no censorship, and you can say what you want. Anyhow, he says, thank you again to everyone. I couldn't respond to every message, but everything is appreciated, and I wanted to provide an update. Things have been a little chaotic with the new status quo after my wife's affair, but I'm taking everything one step at a time. That's all you can do. My wife and I explained the separation to our daughter, who's 4 years old, in simple, concrete terms. I reassured her that we both love her without going into the reasons behind the separation. Well, that's good. Let her know you love her, but good luck getting a 4-year-old to understand this crap. Our daughter has always been an observant child, but I don't think the separation has hit her as of yet. She doesn't see the differences between her mom not being home and her usual busy with work. During visits, she's more distant with her mom and clings to me. She's daddy's little girl. She knows mom's hurt daddy, and that's all that matters. My wife attempted to play with her on this toy set, but our daughter wasn't having it and shouted at her mom that she didn't want to play with her. What does that say? Remember, this is the 4-year-old on her birthday that the mom couldn't be bothered to do the FaceTime with her because the mom was away on business because, she's busy cheating and hooking up with the freaking guy who works for her. I don't blame the little girl. The disconnect between my daughter and the wife hurts in a way I'm still processing. I know my wife's work-life balance took its toll. Pre-Las Vegas, we were supposed to be working on reconnecting, but just how fractured things are is a lot more apparent. Yeah, they already had problems before the whole Vegas thing, but she was obviously cheating on him. It was just a mess. Our daughter interacts very little with her mom and becomes quiet around her like she does with strangers. I feel at her age, we, as her parents, should be who she's closest with and not this disconnected from her mom. Well, dude, there's a reason she's disconnected from her mom. She knows something's up. You said she's observant. She's a smart child. Yeah, good luck trying to explain the whole dynamics of this to a 4-year-old, but she knows something's wrong, and her mom deeply hurt her. And besides, Dad, be happy that daughter prefers you. Their dynamic is something I've been reflecting on. My main focus is making sure my daughter is okay through all of this. She will be, dude. As far as between my wife and me, she's advocating for us to reconcile. Shocker. She doesn't want a divorce. She wants the best of both worlds. Keep you, and you can take care of the kid. She can keep going away on business trips and doing whatever she wants. I cannot give her what she wants right now. How about ever? I told her I wish she would have given herself these rallies before cheating on me. My wife's adamant about the affair timeline and what occurred with the coworker who's 23 years old. Yeah, she's 28 and she's hooking up with a 23-year-old coworker who's under her. They connected because she felt bad. She felt bad he wasn't fitting in at work. Really? That's her reason? I felt bad because he wasn't, fitting in, so I decided to fuck him? Shit. If all places of business were like this. She says he kept flirting and treating her like royalty, and it started feeling good on the rougher work days. Attention and validation every time. And by the way, I think I can say what we're all thinking here. I wouldn't believe a word she says. For all you know is the other way around. She was putting the moves on him. Think about it. She's going to say anything to preserve this marriage. And she's the one that adamantly denied it when he brought up the whole hickey thing on her neck and gave him a hard time about it. So I don't believe a goddamn thing she says. They had an emotional affair, even though she didn't label it as such at the time. An affair is an affair. The emotional affair turned physical during the retreat. She disassociated from her life back home while she was in Vegas. Well, she is not the first person to go to Vegas and disassociate with their normal life. I'm not saying it's right. Of course, I'm not saying it's right, but it goes both ways with men and women. She still swears they had sex only one time. Yeah, sure, honey. The hickey came from foreplay, and while him giving her oral. He called her my nickname for her, which really shook her out of it. She snapped at him about his immature attitude and with the hickeys, and then kicked him out of her suite. She thought she could quietly end things and salvage our marriage. Again, this is what she's telling him. How many of you guys would actually believe in his bullshit coming out of her mouth? The only thing that's coming out of her mouth, well, we know it was coming out of her mouth. But anyhow, no. Bullshit. Says here, I asked her if she wore her wedding ring during sex with him, and she confessed that she did, knowing this really hurts like hell. Yeah, that does. Why doesn't she just had that guy shoot his load all over the wedding ring while they're at it? God. To me, our wedding rings are a physical symbol of our love, commitment to our vows, and our bond. She tarnished our rings. Yes, remember that if you ever even think about, reconciling with this woman. I've been able to wear mine. It never hurts any less. There are just new levels to the hurt. She admits to contributing to blurred lines. She's now changed her number and claims to have cut contact with a coworker. She's doing anything to, save the marriage here, but this guy takes her back, just like any of these stories where a guy takes back someone like this. Guess what's going to happen? That tells her, shit, at the end of the day, he'll take me back. I should be right back to her old tricks 6 months down the road at best. Now listen to this. He says here, she reported the affair to HR. The company has suspended both of them while they investigate the extent to which the affair impacted the department. So this is really sneaky on her part. Think about this. Number one, she's turning herself into HR. Some people may say, oh, that's very noble of her. No, she may get fired over this, and then now she no longer has a job. So if he divorces her, guess what? She has no job, so guess what? You all connect the dots here, and, that makes it more of a problem for him, having to pay more alimony and all that type of thing, And by the way, she obviously was pursuing this young guy, making things easier for him because he didn't fit in at work. And now she's jeopardizing his job. Now, he's an asshole. He deserves to lose his job. But she's throwing him under the bus. The co-workers' relations violate their policy, and it doesn't look good for my wife in terms of power balance since she was the guy's mentor. They're also calling into question if she gives him favoritism. Well, I have no problem if he gets fired, and I would like her to get fired after this guy ends it with her, but not before because that's going to make the divorce a problem for him. Some have suggested I reach out to the coworker. I've considered it, but I'm not in a place to do so. I feel a lot of anger towards him. Look, don't get me wrong, the coworker knowingly was hooking up with a married woman, and he deserves an ass whooping. We can agree there. But at the end of the day, it's just not worth it at this point. I mean, yeah, he goes and finds him and kicks his ass. Now he has the next thing you know, he's getting arrested and all that. Focus on your daughter and ending this marriage. The coworker knew exactly what he was doing with the hickey and nickname stunt. I want to get anything from him except trouble. He's not worth it. I'm choosing to focus on my daughter. Good, that's what you should do. I've chosen to pursue marriage counseling. Smack! Well, don't worry. He's not really planning to stay with her. Just bear with me, guys. This is under the promise of reconciliation, but this is not under the promise of reconciliation, but as an assist in working through the separation as healthy as possible for our daughter. In other words, we're going to be there and do this whole thing, but to manage things in a more, amicable way, so that hopefully the divorce can be amicable and put on the show for the fucking daughter. I'm still numb in a lot of ways. I never thought this would be how my marriage and family turned out. I've seen it happen to others, I've heard stories, and I thought I knew what it was like. But it's nothing compared to dealing with yourself. I don't feel like the same person anymore. Yeah, he's not the same person anymore. And probably a part of him died when he discovered this whole thing, you know? Now, we're almost done this story, but there's a lot in the comments section he responded to with more info here. It says here, I don't know how everything will pan out. It's an uphill battle, and I'm trying to show up for the battle. It's the best I can do right now. Thank you to everyone who's reached out. I appreciate the support, really. Now, before I get into a lot of his comments, giving more information here, well, by the way, spoiler, he's not planning on staying with her. He mentions this in the comments. Obviously, the marriage counseling is just a process to make things a little more smooth than him and the wife. Who knows? But this guy absolutely can't stay with her. You all know from the stories what happens to the guys. They stay with the cheater. And the thing is this. It's bad enough that she was cheating on him, but it went to a whole new level when she came home from Vegas, had that freaking hickey right there. He told her, he said, and blamed it was a fucking bug bite, and missed the daughter's birthday. And then when he was calling her on it, she was lashing out at him for, not trusting her, not believing her, and it just, you all recall, really coming after and giving her a hard time about it. This whole drama fest for him accusing her of cheating, because she was cheating. And finally, when clearly she could see she wasn't going to win the battle, then she opened up about it. But I don't think anybody here believes all the crap she's saying. For all we know, she was pursuing the guy 100%. The affair's been going on for a lot longer, blah, blah, blah. You can't stay with her like that. He's 27 years old. He has his whole life ahead of him. His prime really hasn't even begun. Okay? End it. They haven't been together that long. Take the hit and move on. End of story, And, hey, the daughter prefers daddy anyway, and hopefully things work out on that end. You can't stay with her. Now, I'm going to read a few of his comments reflecting on the situation. He says here, and this is jumping around. He says, it's not that I'm giving him more blame than my wife. It's just I know his character through his actions. To brazenly give her a hickey and twist my nickname for her was a statement to me. There's not a civil conversation to be had with someone who has no respect and is playing games. In other words, the young guy knew what he was doing. He was calling her the dude's nickname for his wife. He's a young douchebag. And, but there's no point in going and talking to this asshole. Again, if he could get away with it and not get caught whooping his ass, the young guy deserves it. But the odds are he's going to get caught. Another comment. He says, no, I don't believe in staying for the children's sake. See it right here. It doesn't benefit any child if the parents aren't truly aligned. I'm taking time to work through my emotions, not step out of character, and be the figure my daughter needs. Good. Be strong for your daughter. I haven't shifted blame to the coworker. It's clear to me his hickey and twisting my wife's nickname for himself was a statement to me. I'm choosing not to engage with a man-child who has no respect and is playing games. Another one, he says here, they've only worked together for less than a year. My wife hasn't been much involved with her daughter. I'm the more hands-on parent. Her distance with her daughter was one of our issues with her poor work-life balance. I've seen her texts. It was a lot of what they already expected. The flirting, testing waters, and all that. Okay, they've been working together less than a year, but still, I guarantee it's been going a lot longer. And yeah, okay, look, there are plenty of parents out there, I'm sure some parents here watching this right now, that are very busy with their jobs and careers to provide for their families. And yet, they still make time for their kids, and they're not distant from them. Little girl's 4 years old, she needs her mommy. Well, a good mommy. Another one, he says, not too much, post-retreat. My wife's text read more dryly and straight to the point about work-related stuff. She needed to communicate. The guy made an apology, text for being overzealous on the retreat. It was like he was speaking in code, but knowing what I know now, I see through it clearly. Yeah, overzealous on the retreat, huh? My wife has replied to him something along the lines that it wasn't something they need to discuss further, and they could just focus on finishing the quarter. And the last one, this is longer, he says, she hasn't really given any outright reason for why she stepped out in our marriage in any capacity. Bro, and she's never going to give you the real reason. The real reason is that she was bored. The real reason is she probably married you just to get a ring on her finger and settle, get her ceremony, and now she can have her fun on the side, hopefully the best of both worlds. That's the real reason. My wife just claimed that she doesn't know how to describe it except feeling broken and like she's turned into her father. Oh, blame it on her father. Apparently, this guy's wife comes from a broken home. Dad was a big cheater, and she swore never to be like her father. Well, there you go. She said she tried convincing herself that she wasn't as him and put me through what she did to my mother-in-law because it wasn't a full-blown physical affair. There was no need for her to engage with this guy emotionally. I was never someone that close to the people closest to me, especially her. Before marriage and everything, we used to talk all the time about how we were feeling and just be open with each other. I don't know, years went by and she became consumed with her job and out in that way. Yeah, because, well, I don't think it was just about the money. It was like her identity, her job, or maybe there's other guys. The emotional affair feels like a huge betrayal as the sex because she opened herself wholeheartedly. She's an intimate part of herself that she wouldn't give me or my daughter. I don't know how to come up with terms with that. Well, anyhow, the wife's an asshole, and obviously it's over because he said he doesn't believe in staying in for the kids, just, even though it's a bad situation. And obviously he's placating her, or maybe the court for all, with the marriage counseling. But even if he has the slightest inkling that maybe we can make this work or there's something left, no, there's no making it work. She's a fucking piece of shit. Take the hit and move on. Talk to your lawyer, find out your options, and move on. I just hope that she doesn't get fired now, and then she doesn't have a job, and it makes things infinitely harder in the divorce, so he has to then pay her a lot more otherwise because of that situation. But we shall see. So I don't think this is the end of this whole thing. So if you guys see any updates, let me know about this. But anyhow, guys, there you go. Alright guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you find a good story you want me to cover, send it my way. strongsuccessfulmail@gmail.com. And if it's a particularly long story for They Did What, just put They Did What story in the title. That'll make it easier to separate it from when guys send me things for like shorter stories. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.